It's my great pleasure now to introduce Christo, who really needs no introduction whatsoever. He's been enthralling and enfolding and enrapturing and provoking and causing us collective wonderment for many decades now. Christo is going to speak for about 20 minutes, then we'll have a few questions. He and I will talk for a little bit, and then we'll throw it open to the audience. Christo.
Thank you very much. If you can put the lights a little bit down, if possible. The lights, or is it impossible? Wolfie, this is the maximum? Okay. Now, I always thinking before talking to think about Jeanne-Claude, you know. We live over 50 years with Jeanne-Claude, and she was much better talker than me. I never learned to speak English or French, and she was saying, what was saying before all talk like that? She was saying that myself, Jeanne-Claude, was born on June 13, 1935. We are aware by two different mothers. I met Jeanne-Claude in 1958 when I escaped from communist country in Paris. We lived in Paris between 1958 and 64, and we immigrated in 1964 to the United States. Jeanne-Claude, no, we don't immigrate to the United States. We immigrated to Manhattan, New York City, and we're still living in the same buildings for over 52 years, downtown Manhattan. This is the only home I have. Now, before going to images, I like to run the fast images of the project. Now, in 1969, we did that project in Australia called Rap Coast near Sydney, Australia. We wrapped coastline 1.5 miles long with 30 miles of ropes and big cliffs to Sandy Beach area. In 1972, they did Valley Curtain, huge curtain the size of Brooklyn Bridge in the western slope of the Rocky Mountains in Colorado. In 1976, after 4 years, we finished the running fence, 18 feet tall, 24.5-mile fence in Sonoma, Marin County, and the western extremity of the fence disappearing Pacific Ocean. You have a little person there standing. You know, all this project, they're temporary. After 14 days, everything was gone, and the recycle is nothing there. In 1978, we wrapped walkway in Loose Park in Kansas City, Missouri. We did golden fabric in late October, or September, early October. And in 1983, after 3 years working, we surrounded 11 islands with 650,000 square meter floating pink fabric in Biscayne Bay, Florida, in 1983. During all this time, we worked on many projects simultaneously because we never should we get the permission. Already before Surrounded Island, we were already working on a project in Berlin. Before Surrounded Island, we were working on a project in Paris. And finally, in 1985, we wrapped the oldest bridge in Paris, the Pont Neuf, with this champagne color fabric. Again, this project stayed for 2 weeks in late September, October. And the bridge was lit by the government of France because it's a historical landmark, over 500 years old bridge. And in 1991, we still start working on the project and finally realized simultaneously in Japan and California, very much like traditional painting in two parts, like diptych. There was the blue umbrellas in Japan, yellow umbrellas in California, and this project was to see it simultaneously, you need to go to California and Japan. Even in Japan, we have a river, 90 umbrellas. Of these, 3,000 umbrellas were standing in the river, in Sato River in Japan. And in California, the project was around the Highway 5 going north to the capital of California, Sacramento. Now, between all this time, we were already working on the project. The Reichstag project started in 1971, 72, was refused several times. And finally, when the umbrella was realized that we have a chance to developing, to get the permission for the Reichstag, it was wrapped in 1995 with 100,000 square meters of that silver color fabric in about 10 miles, 15 kilometers of ropes. You see the Reichstag is situated just between the East and West Berlin. They have up there the Brandenburg Gate. Now, in 1980, Wolfie? In 1998, we finished the RAP 3, the project for 173 RAP in the near Baylor Foundation in Basel, Switzerland, and the Berova Park. We have a sunny day, we have a winter. This is actually color pictures, and we have beautiful sunset. And finally, living for over so many years in New York, and we tried to do a project called Delegates, but that project was refused in 1981, and later with the different mayor, we never get permission. And finally, friend of ours, by chance was elected mayor of New York City, Mr. Bloomberg, we get the permission and we install 7,503 gates and 30 miles, about 40 kilometers of walkway. The gates was always 6 meters high, but the gates were varied with the width of the walkway, from 6 meters to 8 meters. And this beautiful February day, Jeanne-Claude was always saying, we're not sure we have a snow. We have even snow and sun. And he sit down with the project from the looking south to Manhattan section of the project in Central Park. Now, this project intertwined with many other works of did it. But the very early works I did was in 1962. You know, I escaped from communist country. I was actually for 70 years stateless, and we arrived in the United States. That is the amusement. We came like tourists, and after 3 months, we became illegal aliens. We lived for 3 years illegal aliens in Manhattan, even living in an illegal apartment, like industrial house. And when we were still living in Paris, and I have personal exhibition in Germany, in 1961, the wall of Berlin was built. I'm a stateless, coming from communist country, I decided to make my Iron Curtain. In 1972, did Iron Curtain on a small street on the left bank in Paris, Rue Visconti, with these 100 barrels. The barrels was part of my work, like a sculpture. This is, for example, stacking barrels horizontally. He created structure shape, who is not a pyramid, is called Mastaba. He have a slanted wall and vertical top, and two slanted wall and two flat top and vertical side. Now, in 1967, 68, we tried to build Mastaba between Houston and Galveston in Texas. We never get permission. In 1990, 72, Wolfie, we tried to do the smaller size Mastaba in Holland and a park and Othello. We never get permission. And in 1979, we arrived in Abu Dhabi. How we Abu Dhabi is another question. We arrived there to propose to build the Mastaba of sculpture of 410,000 barrels. This is scale model done in 1979. That structure will be 150 meters high, and the floor pan is 300 meters. The vertical wall, a slanted wall, 225 meters. Traveling in Abu Dhabi that time, I used that scale model to discussing the project with the authority in Abu Dhabi. This is all 78, 80, 81, Wolfie. You can see myself with Jeanne-Claude correcting sand to put in the scale model of 1979 in Abu Dhabi. And we work, that project where we're working in Abu Dhabi, we were working also in the surrounded tunnel, we're working in the Reichstag. This is the old project, the intertwined. Wolfie, the next. And this is the last time Jeanne-Claude was with us in Abu Dhabi. After the realizing and the gates, we have a problem with the development and the project of the over the river, which is another story. And Jeanne-Claude tried to move the project at Abu Dhabi, and she was the last time 2007. Now, all this project involved tremendous resources and services of professional people. And to do that project in Abu Dhabi, we're not engineers. We need to find the right way to do the project. Jeanne-Claude have a fabulous idea to contact and pay the services of the 1 to 30, the greatest engineering school in the world. Here we're talking with a professor, assistant professor of the Federal Institute of Technology, how to build a project. The professor of the United Kingdom University in Cambridge, how to do the project. Here talking with the professor of the Champaign-Illinois University. And finally here we're talking with the professor Sasaki of Hosei University in Tokyo. The Professor Sasaki, who is an incredible brilliant mind, say to install these 410,000 barrels, you need to do something clever. And he proposed to flattening the geometry of these barrels. You see there are 3 rectangular parts and 2 trapezoid parts. And actually the workers will install these 410,000 barrels in a right position like a mosaic, floor mosaic. When all that is ready, the Mastaba go up in less than 2 weeks. Now all that is now I'm engineering the project, and 19, well, for next. And they give it the scope, the sides. This is the pyramid of Giza. That is the frontal wall of Mastaba. Now, I never was aware that proportion of the Mastaba is 2, 3, 4. That is the footprint of the square of Bernini and Vatican. And here you can see the Mastaba compared with the San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge, both in next. Now, after Jeanne-Claude passed away, with our engineers and advisors, we moved very fast to find site, especially oriented the vertical wall of the Mastaba. This was a small-scale model. Actually, in the sunrise, that would become like a golden. And this is a little-scale model that we're flying back this afternoon to Abu Dhabi, working with our people in Abu Dhabi. Now, this footprint of the Mastaba is down there. You see that white line with the flags. You have a little car on the left side, on the right side. And the height of Mastaba, you see it, Wolfie? Up there, the balloon. This is the height of the Mastaba of the project. Now, Wolfie, next. Now, like today, you know, I talk non-stop to many people. Here in the college, University of Zayed, University near Abu Dhabi, I'm talking and explaining the project, Wolfie, next. This is drawings. And now, in 1999, and a very large atrium of museum in Oberhausen in Germany, we built a wall of 13,000 barrels. And that's 100-meter high museum with elevator considerable from there. Both in the next. And that is the temporary Mastaba. We built a beautiful museum of south of France, Fondation Mac, just last summer. Both in next. And now, the story of the floating pier. Now, I was telling you, we have many projects not realized. In 1970, we tried to do project floating pier in the delta of Rio de la Plata in Argentina. We never get permission. Now, year passed, and after the wrapping of the Reichstag, Jeanne-Claude said, and finished the umbrellas, Jeanne-Claude was saying that we know so many friends in Japan, let's find calm water to do the project of floating pier in Japan. And we work and do the project floating pier in Tokyo Bay. And we fight with the government, and we cancel the project because all our work is done on our way. We don't bending anything, it's done on our way, and we move away from the Japanese. Now, in 2014, I say to my nephew, Vladimir, who is in Abu Dhabi, and Wolfie here, that I will become 80 years old in 2015. I'd like to do something very fast. And this is why let's try to do the project. Let's do the project of floating pier that probably we can have chance. Now, between 1958 to 64, we live in France. We have a lot of exhibitions in Italy. We did several public projects in Italy. This is the fountain at Piazza Mercato in 1968. We wrapped the monument of Vittorio Emanuele, Leonardo da Vinci in Milan in 1970, and we wrapped the Roman wall, Marcus Aurelius wall, and end of Via Veneto in Rome in 1974. We're hoping now we'll return back to Italy. Probably I have a better welcome situation. We need calm water. This is the foot of the Alps. You have the 4 major lakes in Italy: Lago Maggiore, Lago di Como, Lago Iseo, that little one, and Lago di Garda. And Lago Iseo have the tallest island, mountain island, in the middle of a lake in Italy. You know, that island is 500 meters tall. The lake is very deep. One side is 90 meters depth. The blue is 220 meters depth. This is the old glacier. They're not normal little lake. Basically, on that island, there are about 2,000 people living, and they have no bridge to go to the mainland. And for first time, they will walk in the water to go to the mainland. And this is why we propose to do surround the floating pier in the Lake Iseo. This is the very early sketch. Wolfie, next now, fast. Next, this is another sketch. Now, this is all study. All this preparatory study I do with my hand. I have no assistant in my studio. Everything is by myself. We sell this original work, and with that money, we hire engineers, workers. They were talking with the president of the lake, appointed by the Prime Minister of Rome. Now, this is the little island, also another island we framed with floating pier. Wolfie, next. This is all study done before. I never do drawings when the project is realized. We sell this study, and this is how it can pay 22 million euros for that project. This is the mainland. This is the mayor of the mainland and Solzano. This is the mayor of the Monte Isola. And from there, go through the fabrication of a project. I hope try to give you a scope how complex is the work. Fortunately, we not do the floating pier early years, because in 2000, Canadian engineer invented fabulous system. They are small cubes, only 50 by 50 centimeter and 40 centimeter high. They interconnected with giant screw and created the most sensual, sexiest surface over the water. Now, this is because all our projects, they're unique image. Wolfie, return back. Our project is unique. We cannot choose the project in the studio in Manhattan. For each project, we do life-size tests. And one-to-one scale, small sectional project. This is in Secret Lake, in northern Germany, near Danish border, to finalize how the project will be done. And from there, we go to get the permission, this engineer, to application to the government in Italy, also next, and test another test, because that was not sufficient, aesthetical test. In the Black Sea, we have the same cubes brought there. We have anchors. We have a variety of computer system, Wolfie next. And we have, for example, each of these white bags is the 1,000 kilo to this exactly cube. What? Here, okay. But they hear me. This is our team on the side, Wolfie next. Now, we installed 3 kilometers of floating piers and 2.5 kilometers of pedestrian street and medieval town. And on many occasions, we have an angle connecting for this floating pier, Wolfie next. And they're not simple, straight form. They're 11 meters flat and 2.5 meters in each side, sloping like a beach. This is all the test before we go to full production. The very end, we need to produce 220,000 cubes and 220,000 giant screw, non-stop around the clock, produce it in the factory in northern Italy. From there, they move to our staging area. This is the most beautiful working site we ever have, where we have young people screwing and putting together. Basically, for 3 kilometers floating pier, we need to have 100 meters, 30 pieces of floating cubes. This is all done. But to have the geometry that I designed, we need to install over 200 anchors, 5 tons each, in the water down the deep Lake Iseo. You see, this is geometry, cross-section, how they installed with this anchor. And all this anchor was not installed by cranes machinery. Anchors floating in this lift back. That is air, and underneath is the 5 tons anchor of this lift back. Arriving in the right spot, we have professional French and Bulgarian deep water divers to go down to connect the anchor with the intricate system to the up part of the floating pier. Wolfie, next. And this is all the preparation. That all happened from October of 2015, and finally the project was exhibited on June of 2016. Wolfie, go faster. Now, because I like to answer questions. Okay. This is, for example, when the pier of 100 meters is ready, white, is parked here. This is parking. To give you the sense how completed, we need to rent the street of these small towns. We need to rent the water. We're paying rent. We pay rent $4 million to the city of New York, $3 million to rent the park for 3 months. You know, everything is belong to us. It's our right. We copyright, and everything is controlled. Nobody can use the image for publicity, advertising. Now, we move this floating 100-meter pier, and we frame that island of Sao Paulo, and from there we start to install the piers, that the white piers, only the cubes before we install the special thick felt fabric before we install our yellow fabric of the floating pier. Now, here bringing passerelle to the side, we're moving the pier. They're done by the helicopters, and finally our workers. There were about 60 professional workers, over 600 non-skilled workers, finally to unfurl the project. Very fast. This is actually, before the people walk, this is from satellite picture of the islands. And when the day opened, we were hoping, the government was very nervous how many people there. And there was for 16 days, 1,200,000 people 16 days. There are no museum in the world, no institution, even in China, have over 80,000 people a day. They walk day and night, going nowhere, simply walking. We lit the piers with beautiful lights, we see now, fabricated in the United States. The pier was lit around the clock, and the people can go there. There are 3 kilometers of floating pier and a 2.5 kilometer pedestrian street. And finally, Wolfie will finish fast, Wolfie, that I can answer the question. Right.
Christo, that was amazing. One quick question. You clearly move very fast. You like to go fast. So how the heck did you have the patience to negotiate over years and years many of these projects that you did? You're somebody who goes fast but has patience.
Jeanne-Claude was always better answered. She was also, it's not a passion, it's a passion. There are no rules, you know.
Yeah.
Each project is like an incredible experience, cannot be repeated. And I was saying, I have time, I was saying, all our projects have two distinct periods, the hardware period and the software period. The software periods when the project do not exist. Exists only in the drawings, the sketches, and the mind of 1,000 people who try to help us, and the mind of 1,000 people who have to stop us. And it's a very complex journey. And that software period developed participatory public. You cannot believe it. That people think about the work of art who do not exist. Physically don't exist. And they think how awful it will be, how beautiful it will be, how it will be inconvenient, how it will be exciting. And that energy, it translated like for the Reichstag project, was the most complex permitting process, who the final decision to the permission of the Reichstag was done for only, I think, only work of art, and the world have that, because the Prime Minister of Germany, that time, very famous politician, Mr. Kohl, was dead against the project. And he ordered that the entire parliament should vote on the project, not like an administrative permission. And the roll call vote.
It went to the Bundestag. Yeah.
I remember vividly, and February 24, at 9 o'clock in the morning, for over 70 minutes speeches against for the project. The principal speech, I don't like to say that, from the Conservative Party was the power was given by the very famous politician, even today, who talked 17 minutes or 16 minutes against the wrapping of the Reichstag. To vote in the Parliament of Germany, the Reichstag, is very strange. You don't vote by pushing button, we vote by the credit card. Credit card white is abstention, red is no, and blue is yes. And Mr. Kohl and his desk in the Parliament have a red card to give order that all the CDU, Conservative Party, vote against the project. And after 17 minutes, we defeated Kohl with 69 votes.
Bravo.
Now, many years later, journalists from Frankfurt Allgemeine Zeitung asked Mr. Schauble, in a West Coast, Mr. Schauble, if ever in your life did something wrong, yes, to give the speech against the wrapping of the Reichstag.
How do you explain on Lake Iseo 1.2 million people? I mean, I know humanity has always dreamt of walking on water, but there is the gates in Central Park. It was the same thing. There's this enormous popular fascination with what you do, millions of people. What do you think explains that extraordinary popularity?
No, I think we are all humans and we are all unique. And unfortunately today, without that electronic images, we try to look the same, but actually we're all unique. Yeah. And when we do this project, the people know they go to something who happens once in a lifetime. Mm-hmm. I will never build another surrounded island, will never wrap another bridge, never another parliament. They know in advance that is something unique, never happened before. And they come to something to witness because it's beyond something you see all the time with this banality of the electronic images, media, everything. You like to witness, to feel it. But at the very bottom, all our projects, they're physical. This is something you should understand. I cannot open the computer. I don't know idea how the computer works. Really? I don't know how to drive. I walk all the time.
Do you know how to sit down?
No. Listen. And I love the physicality. I love the wind. I love the heat. I love the water. I love all these physical things. I love to touch. I cannot understand. And this is the very important three-dimensional work of art. That physical relation with the.
Is it hard for you sometimes to take these things down, to remove them?
No.
Let's say you spent 20 years preparing something. It's there for 2 weeks, and then the day comes you have to take it down. Do you ever think, no, I'd rather leave it?
No, listen, it's exhausting. Jeanne-Claude was saying, when the project is over, oof, it's over. Yeah. You can understand, this became our property. Mm-hmm. You cannot believe it. What kind of organization, what kind of service.
I can believe it.
That everything works smoothly, that nothing go wrong. Now, something very important. You see in the floating pier, nobody will look very well. This 3 kilometers of floating pier, 16 meters wide, with water 90 meter depth and 220 meter depth, there was no rail. No rail. I imagine to get permission to do that, we tell to Italians, only that way. And this is what this project deals with, this incredible excitement, incredible culmination of thinking, and is know that after this precious 2 weeks we'll be gone.
Christo, you're a refugee, you've been stateless, you came from communist Europe into free Europe, you saw a wall divide Europe, you're a naturalized American, as am I, and you're living in the United States where the president is talking of putting up a wall, he's banning refugees with the travel ban. How do you feel in this atmosphere? And I know that you had this project you've been working on for 20 years, over the river, on the Arkansas River, covering the river in this silvery fabric. And you've abandoned that.
No, I don't abandon.
Well, you've said you're not going to do it.
No, I cancelled. No, the question is, I said something.
Well,
I said something before. I said something before that I will not talk about politics. I said that, Wolfie, about religion and not about other artists. Today. And this is why I don't like about the politics and religion. But all our projects, they're deeply political. Nobody knows that myself and Jeanne-Claude were the most political artists. To get the permission of the Reichstag, we need to talk to the children and school, even though speaking German, go to all different, the same thing with the over the river. We spent tremendous time. But because you're American, I tell you the story why I was so deeply related to the project. The project is, the project, you should have this long software period. The project started in late 60s during the Clinton administration. United States, or the American people, own 20% of the surface of the land. The special ministry called Ministry of Interior. It's not the police. Ministry to take care about the land. And the owners of the project of the land was almost entire federal government. This 60 kilometer of area of Arkansas River. Minister of Interior, that I'm Bruce Babbitt, former governor of Arizona, big supporter of the project, worked very well through the Clinton administration, the second term of Clinton. But when we faced Bush Jr., we have a terrible time with Bush administration. The Secretary of Interior was the Gail Norton, you remember, Colorado.
And at that point, you didn't imagine Donald Trump, right?
And of course, second term of 4 years was Kefton, the governor of Idaho. They don't like to even see us. The federal government, to give permission for the federal land owned, should be done in Washington. And basically, they will never give permission if the congressional delegation, I'm talking politics, but you should know how political are. Congressional delegation of Colorado do not support the project. There are 2 senators and 5 congressmen, Republican and Democrat. They signed support of the project during the Obama administration. Fortunately, the senator of Colorado before, who was very much for the project, became Secretary of Interior. When Ken Salazar became Secretary of Interior, we get permission for over the river. But the opposition in that valley ferociously not sue us, sue the federal government, Obama administration, why they give us permission. And that process goes from lower court, go to the upper court, and we were winning, the government was winning, the government was winning, and there was the last stop before the Supreme Court of the United States. But there was not settled the case.
Right.
And when that has happened, I cannot face myself with the same problems I have during Bush. They basically, exactly.
You said you can't complete this project for this landlord. I saw
but it's the truth.
Yeah.
The American people, they're landowner, but basically they're presented by their president.
Yeah. And how do you feel about all the walls in the world
walls,
today?
Okay. And in the last 50 years, we realized 23 projects. We felt great permission for 36 projects. I felt to get permission, the project I worked, they fell, it never happened. And of course, we never forget that this near 20 years over the river. We met so many friends, we have so many people. But all the projects have this type of relation. It's a part of the greatness or the desire and the journey that we go through this project. And this is very exciting part. Our life, my life, and the project, and Jeanne-Claude, the project and the Wolfie and everybody work, is incredibly invigorating. It's not something boring, because the proposed to engineers, to the politician, etc. You should understand this project not happened by us. It's not secret to tell you that the moving of the Abu Dhabi project is not happened by miracle. principal
It's been
person.
7 years now since Jeanne-Claude passed.
Yes.
The way you talk, it's as if she's here in the room with us.
I always talk we.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she was all the time, and she was I miss her all the time. She was incredibly argumentative, very critical. She never.
Did the two of you argue sometimes?
We're fighting. You can see we have a great American movie maker, Albert and David Mazel. You can see fighting between them, screaming like sometimes we're divorcing, but we're always fighting
You were
about the project.
born the same day, right?
We're the same age now.
Yeah. The same day, right?
Same day, same moment,
yeah.
by two different mothers. Jean-Claude says.
Do you think that possession and freedom are incompatible?
No.
Do you feel that if you're taking your works down, the ephemeral nature of them, does that make you more free?
No, this is why they're free, because nobody can own these works. Nobody possesses them.
Yeah.
They exist in some moment that cannot be kept, cannot be canned.
Right.
That sublime moment when the work is happened is unforgettable. Is like our youth, our life.
Yeah.
And this is why this project have this type of very, very strong layer. And actually, all our projects develop groupies, not normal art public. They're people traveling around the world to see this project because they witness something probably never happen again.
But the Mastaba project, that
that
will be permanent.
Permanent. But
so why are you making? I know it's very large.
I did many permanent things because without permanent things, I cannot pay the project. I need to do drawings, sculptures, or works of art. We sell this work of art. They stay in museum and private collection, and we have the money to do this project. But you should understand, the important part is all that is the part of how the work is done and control the work. And is the only way I find it, like living in Bulgaria, educated Marxist, I use the capitalist system to the very end. I don't know. I don't know if you know very well. Now, because here there are some artists, I can tell you how this project they financed. They're no mystery. Our principal lawyer in Chicago, Scott Hollis, decided in late 60s after the rap cost that we created a corporation, normal corporation, pay taxes. It's called CVG Corporation, my initial, Christo Vladimir Fevashev. That corporation is the New York State and Delaware Corporation. That corporation creates subsidiary. When you do project in Japan or California, the California Corporation. That corporation send the money to this corporation to pay the bill. The money to the CVG Corporation comes from sell original works of art. Now, some of you artists know very well that the collectors, museum, and dealer, they are notoriously slow payers. They buy the works of art and they pay an installment. And of course, this project, we cannot say to the workers, we cannot pay on Friday because the smith who bought don't pay yet. This is why for over 40 years, or near 50 years, we work in banks. We have a banks who believe in our work. Beyond artists, I never have gallery. Suddenly, myself, Jeanne-Claude, we find him with the biggest collector of our work. It's so big, they have so many storages. Our principal storage is in Basel, Switzerland. We have our own curator, and we work with banks. It's no secret, starting with this surrounded island, we work with Citibank, with the Reichstag project, with the Schlumberger Bank, with the umbrella project Bank of Liechtenstein, and Julius Baer Bank, and with the Reichstag project, Deutsche Bank, with recently all these projects we work with Credit Suisse. They basically take collaterals, our works, and we have a standby line of credit. Sometimes do not use it. And to have several $1 million available that we can pay the bills. Now, when we finish the Gates project, we have a call for Harvard Business School. Now, Harvard Business School touched by cases. They're a case of Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, and they're a case of Christo and Jeanne-Claude, how paid for their project. If you like to more there are about 40 pages case to tell you, explaining how the money comes, how the banks...
So you've become a business model at Harvard,
no, but this is, they run like we need to have a variety of professional people. All project is done by each project has its project director, engineers, all people. They're really treated like anything capitalist world.
When will the Mastaba project be finished?
The Mastaba project is entirely engineered. The project is entirely engineered. But it needs about 3 years to build a project.
From now?
From now, if everything is okay. But basically, very strange. The moment we arrive here, why you arrive in Abu Dhabi, I can tell you, if I have a few minutes. I do not go to the map, put my finger in Abu Dhabi like that. We try to do a project in Texas, we tried to do a project in Holland. In 1972, we became friendly with the French representative to United Nations, Monsieur de Guéringon. Monsieur de Guéringon was a collector. He came to our Manhattan studio, choose some work. He saw the drawings for Texas. He said, oh, Christo, probably will never convince anybody in the West for that project, but their nation was just created, 1972, called United Arab Emirates. Probably you have a chance. I never know what is the United Arab Emirates, but like a foggy story. I opened some books, etc. And of course, we never cannot go there. Nobody. When Giscard d'Estaing was elected president of France, he nominated our friend to become foreign secretary of France. And when Monsieur de Guéringon became foreign secretary, Jean sent telegram, Louis would like to go to Abu Dhabi. And all arrival in Abu Dhabi was organized by the French Foreign Office. And after that is the history.
Christo, how do you do it? You're 82. You've been standing here for 45 minutes. You've got way more energy than I have. I can tell you. I think you should tell us your secret.
I will tell you a secret. Yeah. First, I like to be with empty stomach.
Okay.
I eat only in the evening. And the morning, beware, I eat entire head of garlic raw, chop in small pieces, put it in yogurt. This is my breakfast and coffee. During the day, I'm alone in the studio. I have no elevators.
It's probably better you're alone after that breakfast.
I have no elevator. I climb 90 steps up and down, up and down, up and down. And I work empty. When we're empty stomach, you're very edgy. You're a little bit brusque.
Right,
but give you a lot of
energy,
argue, you're not sleepy, etc.
Right.
And this is why I love that sense. Physically, I love that. But I also, healthy reason to tell you, it's not good to sit. Some young people, it's not good to sit. Even your computer should be standing. It's not good to sit. The humans is not designed to be sitting.
Yeah.
We need to move all the time to stand. And you see, all our projects, they're about moving. We need to go around this countryside, you need to walk. And I enjoy it. I enjoyed the wind, I enjoyed the water, the weight, all these things. It's almost like to be drunk, you enjoy it. I enjoy to touch, I cannot see flat images. Little children look flat images, all not real.
Do you think the world right now needs this collective wonderment that you inspire?
I don't know, I need it, I need it for myself. This is enormous pleasure, and it's something only I very careful, try to be healthy. This is the most important. At my age, I'm very careful not to break something, because when you break something, it's not good very all. That is but I enjoy it tremendously. Of course, it's very difficult without Jeanne-Claude, but we have friends for over 50 years. One of them is here, and we try to. And I remember when we have problems, we're surrounded. What Jeanne-Claude say today? We always miss.
Now, does anyone have a question for Christo? Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Why is the wrapping? Why did you do the wrapping?
Why do you wrap things?
Why do we wrap? Okay, wrapping. Okay, some project is wrapped, but actually, like the Coastal Strand in Australia, the rice is wrapped. The gates was not wrapped, umbrella was not wrapped, but the fabric is one of the biggest essential material in history of art. For 1,000 years, artists used the fabric, not the real fabric, it was marble and bronze and wood and paintings, and it's the folds actually can recognize the periods of the fabric through the folds. Like a medieval sculpture, the folds, they're much more angularly, a Renaissance and Michelangelo more roundish. But the best example of what the fabric do in the classical art is the case of French sculptor Rodin. This is a true story, not invented by me. Now, Rodin have the commission to do the Balzac monument. And the first version of Balzac monument, that Balzac was totally naked. Big belly, skinny legs, and many details. Now what Rodin did it to take the cape of Balzac, put it in liquid plaster, and shroud the figure of Balzac. We have now Boulevard Respite MoMA. Basically hide the details in the body of Balzac. With our wrapping project, like the Reichstag or the Ponyhof, you see, Reichstag was full of ornaments, sculpture, decoration. All that was gone, and the entire architectural proportion of the building was very clear, very light. But I show you the still picture. All our projects, they're like living objects. They're not like that. They're moving all the time with the wind. This is for the wrapping. But the cloth and other projects, and the cloth, all our project is the principal element to translate this nomadic character of the project. Now, the work is very nomadic. It's fabricated off-site. There are a lot of steel and cables and poles, but the final installation is happened in a few days, actually, in the Valley Curtain, a few minutes when installed. But that dynamic change of the space, not like a brick building up, up, and down, is a powerful element. And of course, you know that will be gone, we're now there. Now, when we wrap the Reichstag, we have no scaffolding. Entire Reichstag was wrapped by these marvelous rock climbers. Literally, they come down with the fabric to wrap the project. There was a working fence about the Reichstag, through seawater. The people of public can see the wrapping of the Reichstag. When the Reichstag was wrapped and removed the fence, people was walking near the building. And the people was going, pushing the fabric, touching the fabric. You don't see any people in Doha walking around the building, touching the building. This is the story. It's very sexy, very inviting material. Yeah.
Did you know that I'm sure you did, that when the Reichstag fire occurred in 1933, Hitler,
who was there?
He accused a Bulgarian communist.
Yes, I know that very well.
Yes, ma'am, you had a question. Here in the middle. Yeah.
Hello. I'm an art teacher. I work in a British school in the region. You may know, you may not know, but you were mentioned in the exam paper this year. So anyone who's studying art, 16 to 18, hoping to go to university, in a school in the UK or any British school around the world, is asked to study your work this year.
In Britain, if you're doing an exam at high school, if you're 16, you have to study the work of an artist called Christo. That's you.
Okay.
And,
What is the issue?
There's no issue. So while I'm presenting your work to the students and talking about the ephemerality of your work, I had to present your work to the students.
She had to present your work, yeah.
They're looking into the essence of your work. So a lot of questions of what happens to all this fabric? Isn't that a waste,
materials.
miss?
Okay, recycling. Okay, then we'll answer that question. Okay, if you ask that question, I will understand. No, it's very, it's very capitalist, pragmatic thinking. You know, we are buying so much.
I was trying to make you feel proud that, you know, X amount of million of students are actually looking at your work.
Yeah, thank you. No, but the materials, because this material, they're valuable, sometimes very expensive. We really sell the material before it was exhibited. For example, the fabric we use for the wrap course in Australia is not normal fabric. It's the mesh who is woven. It's called erosion control mesh. It's fabricated in South Pacific area that the farmers put that fabric over the good earth, and the typhoon and cyclone do not remove the earth from the top, and the crop can grow to that fiber. This is the fabric of the wrap course, was reused exactly for that purpose. But the fabric is the less expensive thing. The most, you know very well, the most expensive is the labor. Labor force is incredibly expensive. But there, for example, for doing the gates, we need to buy 5,000 tons of steel, because each gate was need to support by the base of steel. You don't know how much is 5,000. It is the 2/3 of the steel of Eiffel Tower. We buy that steel, cut it on these 15,000 bases, and we sell the steel before even the gates was exhibited to the Chinese, because they need to have a steel. Basically, pure capitalist thinking, you sell the things because they're very valuable commodity, and part of our way, how we're thinking, how the project is recycled, all levels, many of the elements of the project.
Last question. Yes, there in the back, yeah.
Hello, I am a student. My name is Mariam. I want to ask you, what's your advice for like young artists, young architects? What do you think we should... I want an advice from you.
Now, I always think about Jeanne-Claude, because Jeanne-Claude have much better answer for that. I try to remember to say the right things, because Jeanne-Claude have an answer for that. And she was saying that, you know, to artists, we cannot advise you what to do. But only way we can tell you that if you work very hard, I try to remember, you put all in your energy of your thinking and do the things you like to do in painting, sculpture, you will do it. But the most difficult part is to know what you like to do. And that is nobody can tell you because you are a unique person. I cannot even imagine, I can tell you what you should do. Only you self, you need to discover what you like to do. And there are no rules, and they're impossible. And this is why, but if, of course, if you focus and like to do the things you like to do, you will do it.
And eat yogurt and garlic for breakfast.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.